Hi and welcome to week 2 of the Spring in Bloom Cal. This week I'm going to be showing you how to do the tulips and the butterfly panels. I'm just going to do a sample piece, so it's going to be smaller, but it'll help you get to know the stitches and what to do. So I'm going to take Yarnsmiths celery in the Create DK, and I'm going to do a chain of 18. You will start with a chain of 66. Oh. That's my 18 chains, and we'll be working in the second chain from the hook, so you're going to skip that first chain, work in the second chain from the hook, and we're going to do a half treble crochet in each chain across. So keep going along your chains and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm just doing my last half treble crochet of the row, and now we are going to turn our work, and we are on row 2, and this will be your right side facing. So for row 2 we chain 1 and we do a half treble crochet again in each stitch across to the end. So continue with your half treble crochets and I'll meet you at the end. So I've just finished. Now I'm going to turn my work, and then this is the wrong side facing, and this is your V-stitch row. So you're going to start with a chain 1 and you're going to do a treble in the same space. So that's a treble in your first stitch. Then we're going to skip 1 and we're going to do a V-stitch in the stitch after your skipped 1. So it's 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches and a V-stitch in the third, and then you're going to repeat skipping 2 and doing a V-stitch until the end, and I'll meet you at the end. So you will have continued along and you've got to your last repeat and to your last 3 stitches, because your last repeat is your V-stitch and skip 2. So you're on your last 3 stitches. So we're going to do a V-stitch after your skip 2. And then we're going to skip 1. And then we're going to do 1 treble in your last stitch. And then we need to tie off your yarn for that row. It's going to be joining a new colour and turn your work. So this is the beginning of row 4 with right side facing. Now I'm going to be joining yarn G, which is the lavender in the Create DK, and you're going to be joining it to your first stitch of the row, and it's chain 1, 1 treble in that stitch, and then chain 1. Then we're going to do a popcorn in the chain 1 space of your V-stitch. So it's 5 trebles into that space to make up your popcorn stitch. That's 3 trebles, 4, 5. And that's your popcorn stitch done. And then we're going to chain 2 and repeat that again in the next chain 1 space of your V-stitch. So do another popcorn stitch. And then chain 2 and repeat across to the end, and I'll see you back at the end. So you've come to your last 4 stitches and you've done a popcorn chain 2. We're going to do another popcorn in your last V stitch. So that's your popcorn. And we're going to chain 1 and we're going to skip 1 and we're going to do 1 treble in your last stitch. We're going to fasten off this colour because we'll be attaching a new colour for round 5, and that's your row 4 done. We now need to turn our work and we'll be attaching yarn E in this stitch here for round 5. So it's a chain 1 and 1 half treble crochet. Just put the end to the side, and it's 1 half treble crochet in the chain 1 space, half treble crochet into the top of your popcorn stitch, and then 2 half treble crochets in each chain 2 space across. So you've got 1 in there. So you're doing 2 half treble crochets in your chain 2 space and then 1 in the top of your popcorn. And you repeat that across, so 2 in your chain 2 space and 1 in the top of your popcorn, and just repeat that across your tulip panel, and I'll meet you back here at the end to show you what to do. So I've done my half treble crochets up to the last 2 stitches, so you're going to be doing a half treble crochet in the chain 1 space and then your last half treble crochet in the last stitch, and that is row 5 complete. And we're going to now turn our work, and we're working back along the right side of your panel, going to chain 1, and you're going to complete a half treble crochet in each stitch across. So that's the end of row 6. You're now going to fasten your yarn off and attach your yarn C, which is the celery for this panel, and you're going to then do another row of half double crochets. So we'll just do that row. So I need the celery, attach it in the corner, and we're just going to do a row of half double crochets. This is the wrong side facing. If you just carry on doing your panel to the end, and it's just a half double crochet in each stitch, and then we'll be turning our work at the end. I'm just going to do my last stitch. So you'll be turning your work, and then now you're going to be repeating rows 2 through to 7, and you'll get more tulips. You'll work up your rows, and then you'll be repeating rows 2 till 6, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll be onto bordering your panel. I've just done the last row on the last repeat, which is a repeat of rows 2 to 6, and I'm just going to fasten off, ready to start bordering your panel. So we need to attach the yarn C with the right side facing to the top right corner stitch. So up here you will be attaching yarn C. So this one, it's the celery into that corner stitch, and you will be starting with a chain 1, and you need to do a treble in each stitch across to your last stitch. Ignore all the ends. So we will be doing a treble in each stitch across to the end, to your last stitch. And then in your last stitch, so I've got 1 stitch remaining, in your last stitch you'll be making a corner stitch, which is 2 trebles in the same stitch, chain 2 and 2 trebles. And now we're going to be working 30 trebles evenly down the side of your panel. So again, ignore your ends, you'll need to sew them in later, and let's do 30 evenly down the side of your panel. If you continue doing that, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've done 30 stitches evenly down the side of my panel to the last stitch, and then in the last stitch will be your corner stitch. We're going to do 2 treble, chain 2 and 2 treble. And if you repeat your first side and your second side for your third side and your fourth side, I'll meet you back here for the next round of bordering your panel off. So I've just completed my last corner and I'm just going to slip stitch to the first stitch of bordering off and snip that yarn off. So the last part of your tulip panel is round 2 of the bordering off, and you need yarn H. So for the create DK it's the off-white, and attach it to any chain 2 space, and you start off with a chain 1, half treble crochet, chain 2, half treble crochet, and you need to do a half treble crochet in each stitch across. To the next chain 2 space, so I'll just do this to the end. And then in the corner space, once I get there, so in the chain 2 space it's half treble, chain 2, half treble. So if you just repeat that around, and I'll meet you back here. So I've just come to the end and I'm just going to slip stitch to the first stitch made, break the yarn, and then that is your panel bordered off. So now we'll be moving on to the next video, and I hope you enjoyed it.